You won't believe how one ordinary checkup at Lakeview Medical Center turned into a reckoning nobody saw coming. Michael Davis walks into the gleaming lobby at exactly 10 in the morning. The light bounces off marble floors, polished surfaces, the sound of soft classical music in the air. Everywhere you look, it screams prestige. His charcoal suit fits just right. His shoes are clean. His premium insurance card gleams in his hand as he hands it to reception. The receptionist's eyes flicker, first at his face, then at the gold-level coverage notification on her screen. There is a pause. Michael holds his composure. "Is something wrong?" he asks quietly. "No, sir," the receptionist replies, voice polite but distant. "Just processing." She taps at the keyboard, glances at him. Her body language says more than her words. Discomfort. But Michael knows these dances. He learned them early. In his office, Dr. Edward Westfield sees the name on his schedule. His brow furrows. "Why is he in my book today?" he whispers to Rebecca at the front desk. She shrugs. "Corporate referral, gold plan coverage, he qualifies." Westfield lets this sink in, his lips pressing together. He doesn't look up, knows what he'll expect before Michael arrives. He avoids the waiting room. When he finally does glance up, he sees Michael sitting among others, white, varied ages. But Michael's presence cuts through, polished, dignified, unassuming. Westfield's smile disappears. 30 minutes late. Michael sits, every chair around him occupied before his time. Water glasses are refreshed, magazines swapped, nurses chatting with patients. He receives sideways glances, silence when others get small talk. Nurse Chen approaches, calls his name with hesitant voice, avoiding eye contact. Michael rises, steps into the examination room. Dr. Westfield barely acknowledges him, not looking up. Paper rustles as the nurse takes vitals. "Blood pressure, 138/90, she says, adding softly, "Your pressure is elevated." "Not surprising," Westfield mutters under his breath after the nurse steps out. Michael lies down the chart. "How did you get referred to this practice, Mr. Davis?" Westfield asks, voice tinged with accusation. Michael answers with quiet clarity. The referral came through his company's executive health program. Premium coverage. Westfield's face darkens. "We'll see about that," he says. Michael describes fatigue, headaches, how sleep no longer starts easy but ends in jolts awake, pain that pulses behind his eyes, changing. The symptoms worsening over weeks. Each time he speaks, Westfield interrupts. "Doctor," he says, as though Michael has crossed into forbidden territory. Michael holds his voice steady. Westfield jots notes without looking up. The nurse returns, senses the tension. "You might be stressed, Mr. Davis," she suggests. Westfield scoffs, uses a phrase, "statistical predisposition," as though Michael's skin color explains everything. Michael tenses but doesn't snap, watches everything, remembers everything. He asks for a full workup. Westfield laughs, harsh and quick. "Unnecessary," he says. "We don't run up costs with tests." Michael protests. These headaches wake him. They feel wrong. They feel new. Westfield's dismissive posture, the single glove he slips on when touching Michael's chest, when before, gloves were always too precise. He orders Michael to remove his shirt. No gown offered, no privacy screen. The stethoscope cold against his skin. "Breathe," he commands. Michael complies, folds his shirt with care. The examination rushes past him. Every touch feels clinical and punitive. Westfield makes note of his heart rate. "Too high," he says, but attributes it to poor diet. Michael counters, "Vegetarian, runner." Ignored. Eye contact avoided. The nurse hovers in the doorway, silent until her discomfort becomes sharp enough to speak. Dr. Westfield, by protocol, these symptoms do warrant further tests. Westfield's glare could cut glass. Remember your place, Nurse Chen. And she recoils. The slur in Westfield's tone, thinly veiled, twisting in the air. Michael's eyes flick to the desk. A photo. Westfield and his family in front of a grand house. Trophies, diplomas, reminders of privilege and power. Michael asks again, please, blood work, MRI, anything to rule out serious causes. Westfield waves him off. Insurance might not cover it. Michael's tone shifts very slightly. Calm but firm. We already confirmed the coverage. Westfield tosses a prescription onto the table. Painkillers. Come back if it gets worse. The nurse's face contorts. She turns toward Michael. I'm sorry, she mouths as she exits. His voice, soft but clear. Dr. Westfield, symptoms like these should not be brushed off. Westfield's mask slips. You people always want special treatment, he spits. People who read WebMD think they're experts. Michael's phone buzzes. He reaches in, thumb scrolling. Yesterday's recording. The witness statements mounting already in his mind. A click, a decision, because this isn't invisible to him. Tomorrow will be different. He leaves the room quietly. Westfield watches him go. Michael sits in his Tesla in the parking lot, engine off, phone in hand. The leather interior smells of cedar. New car, high expectations. He dials. It's worse than we thought, he says, voice tight. Bias. Discriminatory treatment. I recorded everything. Nurse Chen is my witness. I'll submit by tonight. We move tomorrow. Inside, Westfield returns to his desk, muttering, dismissing. These people always play victim. Nurse Chen enters. She clutches a file like a shield. I saw everything, she says, firm. He was out of line. Westfield's face hardens. You think they'll believe you over me? He says, quietly. She hesitates. I'm doing what's right. Be careful, he warns. Her evaluation, her career, her loyalty, all on the line. That night, Michael drafts a report to the health minister. He lays out the facts. Explicit bias, substandard care, hostile remarks. Attach the audio. Attach witness statements. Nate the director calls. Audio confirmed, Michael says. Crystal, nurse witness, front desk staff. Great. Forward everything. We move at dawn. He closes his laptop, lies in bed, thinking, not just for me, for all the patients turned away, silenced. Morning comes. Westfield strides into the hospital corridors, coffee cup in hand. He is unaware or in denial of the meeting waiting for him. The board meeting summons him. Complaints he assumed buried are now in motion. Furious, he demands information. None given, just notices. He attempts to access patient files. Locked out, under review. Westfield's world tilts. Michael arrives at a cafe across town. Nurse Chen slips into a seat across from him, eyes cautious. She tells of 17 complaints in the past year, all from minority patients. Patterns ignored. Walls built. Michael places his health authority ID on the table. The gold emblem reflects afternoon light. She looks up, realizes he is the inspector. She knew he was assigned. She serialized proof. Promotion passed her by. She watched the unequal treatment ripple, silent until now. Back at the hospital, Westfield can't open files, can't access schedules. They're restricted because of the internal investigation. He rings the receptionist. Get me everything on Michael Davis. Sir, they've been flagged, she says, not accessible. On whose order? He tries the director. No answer. His allies are distant. Board members unresponsive. The director's office reveals a notice. Formal investigation. Westfield staggers. Who is Michael Davis really? He Googles him. Chief Medical Inspector. Health Authority. Panic colors his face. Decisions he thought secret are exposed now. The recording, the pattern, the testimonies, they're not anecdote anymore. They're evidence. Dr. Westfield enters the boardroom. Stiff-shouldered, legal team at his back. The seats feel heavier than before. The director nods at him to sit. Michael enters, flanked by the health minister herself. Nurse Chen follows. Dr. Westfield stares, recognition and dread mixing in his eyes. Michael's voice is calm. "Thank you for joining," he says. The room stills. The health minister stands. The investigation is no longer rumor. It's official. 17 complaints, dozens of staff who saw. Statistical evidence of care disparity. Not one case. They have many. Charts projected. Minority patients consistently under-referred for specialists. Delayed diagnoses. Worse outcomes despite equal insurance and presentation. Conversations, testimonies, audible in the recording, excerpted, your kind. People like you. Dr. Westfield's face muscles twitch. The slurs, the dismissals, the assumptions, all caught on tape. He tries to argue methodology, attack Michael's motives, the personal angle. Michael acknowledges the personal loss. His brother died because symptoms like these were ignored. But he says, this is no longer personal. It's systemic. The data doesn't lie. They controlled for every variable: age, insurance, severity. The only factor that correlates with differences is race. When asked, Dr. Westfield hesitates. Would he have treated Michael differently if he had known who he was earlier? He breathes out, yes. The room goes quiet. That admission, standard of care, should never depend on perceived status or identity. Ethics Committee doesn't hesitate long. They vote. The verdict: license suspended 2 years. Reinstatement only after bias training, ethics courses, 5 years probation with oversight, silence. Dr. Westfield stares, losing what he once thought unbreakable. Titles, trophies, respect, all hollow now. Outside, the news spreads. Team of reporters swarm Michael. He speaks plainly. Today is progress, but the work isn't over. Nurse Chen is promoted. Institutional reform promises. Training for all staff. Transparent reporting. Patient rights display boards in lobbies. Anonymous feedback. New protocols across hospitals. Michael's brother's story becomes the catalyst. At home, Westfield removes his diplomas from the wall. His wife confronts him. Who stood where? She asks. He tries to defend, to excuse. Experience counts. Privilege isn't defense, she replies. She leaves. A life rearranged. Westfield, required now to attend bias training, sits in class. He has completed tests, essays, procedures. But when asked whether he understands what he did wrong, he stammers. Because understanding isn't technical, it's moral. He watched medical students of color walk through doors he once held. He thought he saw them, but maybe he realizes he didn't see them as fully human, as equally valid. Meanwhile, Michael visits his brother's grave. It's happening, Tony, he says, placing roses. Change, finally. His voice cracks in the silence. The grief still there, but something like peace too, because action followed pain. Michael continues his work with the health authority, monitoring data, ensuring compliance. The numbers begin to shift. Hospitals participating show smaller gaps in outcomes between demographics. Patients report more respect. Staff training programs proliferate. Protocols are no longer suggestions, but requirements. Equality slowly begins to reshape what justice looks like in medicine. 1 year later, Michael sits in a clinic that embraces the changes. Dr. Anita Patel enters, greeting him by name. She listens, she explains, she acknowledges, she orders tests. She treats him as any other patient. The difference isn't flashy, it's consistent. It's in the warmth, the thoroughness, the respect. He leaves that appointment relieved, hopeful. In a university lecture hall, medical students review the Westfield case. What went wrong? What must never happen again? They learn to recognize bias, to oppose it. They learn humility. They learn that every patient's pain deserves acknowledgement, that health is justice. Michael is asked to lead a national commission. Reforms roll out across public-private hospitals alike. Anonymous reporting systems installed, regular audits, patient rights posters in multiple languages, doctor training not just in medicine, but in empathy and ethics. Dr. Westfield, his career in tatters, watches the shape of the future forming without him. The prestige he once rode fades. The trophies gather dust in his once proud study. He realizes too late that power without integrity collapses. Michael, stepping onto a stage in a press conference, addresses the country. He speaks gently, but with force. Equal care isn't special treatment. It's the only acceptable standard. He tells of patients who would tell their stories now, not whispered, but heard. Not lives lost in silence, but redirected through accountability and reform. And in that moment, when applause swells, when hope seems possible, Michael closes his eyes for just a second. The effort, the grief, the loss, it all matters. For everyone who walks into a hospital expecting respect, for every person who has been dismissed, silenced, ignored. For his brother too, because one appointment, recorded and resisted, had become the spark. Not just one life defended, but many lives changed. Not just one doctor held accountable, but a system shaken. Not just one patient seen, but everyone seen. That is what justice looks like. That is what medicine should be.